In this video, I'm going to tell you how to prepare for the new enhanced ACT. In case you didn't already know, there is a new version of the ACT in 2025, so it is essential to be properly prepared to be using books, materials, courses that have actually been updated for this new version of the ACT and not dated material. So in the rest of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what courses and books you can use to get prepared and how to best use these to get amazing scores. I'll also go over some books and dated resources that you should definitely avoid using, and also share some common test prep mistakes to avoid. In case you already know me, my name is Matt. I'm a professional tutor for over 10 years. I've published multiple ACT math books that have helped thousands of students get their dream ACT scores. And the new scores from the new enhanced ACT actually just came out this week, and I'm happy to report that PrepPros students did amazing. This is great because it really proves that all the updates we made to our books and our courses and the way we're prepping for this new enhanced ACT work really well. So in the rest of this video, I'm going to share some tips with you around what we're doing with our students and what you can do to prepare. And also, make sure you keep watching until the end, because I'm also going to share what we've learned so far from this first group of score releases about how we might adjust our prep and things we can do to make sure our students are even better prepared for the future enhanced ACTs. Now, I'm sure you're wondering what is going on with this new enhanced ACT. The test is somewhat similar, but there's some pretty major changes to the number of questions per passage and the pacing. There are also some other changes that I go way more in depth in another video I've already put on YouTube. So if you want to check out about and really learn about all the changes, you can go check out that video here. But in today's video, we're going to focus on how to prepare for new enhanced ACT. Let's start with talking practice tests. Of course, taking full practice ACTs is a very important part of the process. I definitely recommend you don't spam through these right away, because right now all we have are 4 practice ACTs. We have to use these carefully. The ACT has released 4 versions that are updated for the new format and pacing and structure of our new enhanced ACT. All of these tests are available in the red book you see on the screen here. This is the official one from the ACT. The first test in this book is actually also available for free. I'll put that link below in the description so you can download that as a first practice test to take. The other 3 in here are actually all reboots of old tests. So that's one thing the ACT that's done that's been a little bit lazy. They didn't actually write new tests. They took old tests and basically reformatted them to fit the new structure of the test. Unfortunately, that means these tests are a little bit dated. The tests in this book, one's from 2019, one's from 2020, one's from 2021, and of course the ACT over time changes. The test right now, as I'm filming this video in 2025, is a little bit harder than those ones are. So a lot of students who are just using these 4 tests in the red book went into the ACT this weekend feeling like, man, I saw a bunch of math stuff or some other stuff that I hadn't really seen before, I wasn't as well prepared for. But this is the best we have right now. So what I'm definitely telling students is please don't sit down and spam all 4 of these tests. You'll be out. We want to be smart about kind of spacing these out as we go. Now, what else can we use for practice tests? Well, all the old versions of the ACT are actually still pretty useful, because overall, some of the pacing and content has changed. Well, sorry, the pacing and structure has changed, but the content of the test is generally the same, which means all the practice questions of the old ACTs are also really great to use. What I'm doing with our students at PrepPros here is just updating the pacing of these tests. So what you can see here is on the old version, English, you would have 45 minutes, math, you'd have 60, reading, you would have 35, science, you have 35. I recommend that you use the new timing that I have on the screen now. The new timing is going to basically give you the same pacing as you would see on the new version of the ACT. So you can use old ACTs with this new timing. You can get those old ACTs they sell the old version of the book. You can go back to get like the 2024, 2025 version of the same red ACT book. You'll be able to get more practice resource students can use that way. The other place you can get extra practice tests is with us here at PrepPros. We work with the ACT. We partner with them. We're an ACT affiliate. And with that, the ACT gives us additional practice tests that we can use within our courses and with our students. So these are practice tests that are not available in those 2 books that I just mentioned. So these are additional practice tests you can use. They're available within our Ultimate ACT course or within We Sell individual test explanations. For all of these tests, there are videos of me going through and explaining how to solve every single question. So you can learn more about those in the links down below and of course on our website. One final piece of practice test advice: don't use third-party practice tests. We at PrepPros here only use practice tests written by the ACT because they're the only ones that are truly accurate to what the ACT is going to feel like on testing. Now, the problem with third-party tests written by companies like the Princeton Review or Kaplan or McGraw-Hill or anyone else, they generally speaking often have issues in terms of the difficulty, the scaling, the content. So again, don't use these practice tests because they're not going to help get you as prepared for test day as using official ACT material. All right, now let's talk about how to actually prepare, because you should not prepare for the ACT by just taking practice tests. I cannot emphasize that enough. Just taking a bunch of practice tests is not going to get you ready. You need to have a more structured way to go about this. And let's talk about how to prep for each section: English, math, reading, and science. Let's start with English. Now, good news, English, if it's a section that you took a practice test or took the real test and didn't do super well, it is, in my opinion, the easiest one to skyrocket your score super fast because you need to learn the patterns of the test. You need to learn the grammar rules. Now, unfortunately, none of the books that are published have been updated yet. The best book out there traditionally has been Erica Meltzer's book. I would recommend that is still the best one. It will still be fairly good to get you prepared, even though it has not been fully updated, because a lot of the stuff it teaches still applies to the new version of the ACT. If you want to use something that has been fully updated, I have my ACT English course, which is part of our full Ultimate ACT course. The Ultimate ACT course gives you access to all of our courses for $99 a month. But the English course I've gone through, I've updated the book that I've written for that. That book is not published, but it is included in the course. It's a book that I use that students will work off of. And there's a video course of me teaching all the stuff you need to know for English. So that has been fully updated for the new version of the ACT. Again, these are probably the best two resources I can recommend right now for getting prep for the ACT English. Now let's talk ACT Math. Overall, the ACT Math is one of the hardest parts of the ACT to prepare for because the ACT tests a ton of different math topics. And a lot of students went into the most recent ACT. I'm filming this in September, so September ACT 2025. And they used the stuff, the 4 practice tests in those books. They took the test and they're like, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of math in this test I've never seen before. And of course, I was like, well, duh, the ACT tests a ton of different stuff. If you've only done a couple of practice tests or you haven't used the right resources, you're not going to be prepared. So, of course, you're asking, well, what can we use? Well, there's one book that's been updated. I'm actually the one who's written it. It is the PrepPros Complete Guide to ACT Math. This is a book that I first published in 2023. I went through and gave it a full update for the new enhanced version of the ACT in 2025. And again, it is the only book out there that has been fully updated. This book is going to cover everything you're going to see in the ACT. So this is one that, again, is accurate to the new enhanced ACT and one you can use to prepare. Additionally, this book is great because I actually have a full ACT math course that goes with this book. So there's videos of me not only teaching every single thing in this book, but also videos of me solving every single practice question. So for a lot of students who prefer to learn with videos to be able to use it, it makes it a really easy way to go through and learn math. Now, what should we avoid? Well, if you go on Amazon, there are a couple math books that are really, really well reviewed. The two you're going to see are the College Panda one comes up a lot, and there's also one by Richard Korn. I'll show both, of course, of those on the screen so you can know exactly what books I'm talking about. These are 2 books to avoid because, unfortunately, at this point, these books are really old and outdated. They were first published back in, I think, 2016 or 2018, something around then, and the ACT has changed a lot since then. The math still looks the same, but they've added a bunch more topics. The math has gotten significantly harder since when those books were published. And while they were good when they first came out, at this point, they're really outdated. They have pretty major gaps. There's content that is consistently tested in the ACT that doesn't appear in those books at all. So if you use those resources to prepare, you will go in there on test day. You are going to see stuff you didn't see in those books. And of course, you're not going to score as well as you would like. Now let's talk the reading. The reading here, similar to what I said for English, no books have been fully updated for the new version of the test as far as the published ones. The best one out there is actually by the same person, Erica Meltzer. The new ACT, there have been some minor changes to the reading. Overall, all there are, instead of 10 questions per passage, there's now 9 questions per passage, and they're probably ramping up the difficulty of the reading a little bit. But generally, the test feels pretty similar. So even though her book is not technically for the new version, it is still probably the best one that I'd recommend if you want to go the published route. Of course, in the Ultimate ACT course, I have my ACT reading course. I've updated our materials and our course to reflect the new version of the test. So I think that my course is one of the only ones that's actually been updated for the new enhanced ACT, but if you prefer to use a book, that's also an option. Now let's talk the science test. One important change in the new ACT is that science is now optional, which of course means you don't have to take it. So if you've done a practice ACT or done the test before and science is a big weakness for you, you of course can decide not to take it. Or if you're really limited on prep time, of course, not taking science just gives you one less thing to have to study for. Now, overall, I'm recommending that our students take science just because we don't know down the line how colleges are going to view it. Just because the ACT says science is optional doesn't mean that some colleges aren't going to come out and say that they require the test or they prefer the test. So again, if you have time to prep for it and you do fine on the science, I would recommend that you take it just to have that score. Now, how are we going to prepare for the science? Well, overall, again, none of the books out there that are officially published have been updated for the new version of the ACT. The good news is, again, the science is more the same than different. There are some minor changes, but overall, some of the old prep books, like the ones you see on the screen now, these are the two ones that are generally the best reviewed and the ones that I would recommend using if you want to go that route. I'm also in the process of rewriting my ACT science book to match the new version of the ACT and updating the science course. So that'll be done by the end of 2025 at latest. So that is also, again, once that's done, that will be probably the one thing that is actually fully updated for the new enhanced ACT. Now, one final book I want to make sure you don't waste your money on is this book you see on the screen now. This is the ACT Black Book. This book is super outdated. It is written to be used with a very old version of the red ACT book. So again, this is really at this point very useless. Do not get it. It is not updated. It is not going to help prepare for the new enhanced ACT. All right, now we know the resources we can use to prepare. Let's talk about how to use those and how to actually prep. Now, a couple things I always recommend. Number one is give yourself proper time to prepare. Generally speaking, giving yourself at least 3 months of lead up is really, really nice. It makes it feel like you're not cramming. It gives you time to do the prep properly. And remember, ACT prep is not about learning some quick tips and tricks and shortcuts and hacks. It's about actually learning the content, learning the patterns of the test, and practicing. To get to your best scores ever, you have to put together a plan and put in time. So again, tip number one here is give yourself 3+ months to actually plan for the test. Tip number two here is make sure you make ACT prep consistent. We want to make sure that you are doing prep every single week. And again, give yourself time to prepare, as of course, as much time as you can. Tip number three here is make sure you are smart about when to take your ACT. With what I was saying, we need time to prep, probably a minimum of 3 to 5 hours per week. So make sure that you're considering, you know what, I'm in football season, or I've got basketball season, or I've got a play going on right now. Plan around those things so you can add in prep to your schedule when it is realistic, because I know a lot of you are doing this during junior year, and of course it is stressful with all of the extra classes and coursework, and if you're doing as a senior, you have college apps, which again, try to make sure you find the time. Other one to be considerate about is the math timing. The math in the ACT is challenging. It is very, very broad. They're going to cover stuff all the way up through the end of pre-calc. So if you're more of an honors math kid who you're taking honors AP math, you're already taking AP Calc, for example, you're good to go. There's nothing in Calc that's going to help you on the ACT. Oppositely, if you're a weaker math student where you're in the regular math track, it might be helpful to give yourself some more time and look to take your first ACT maybe in February, even in April, or if you're really weak in math, giving yourself more time to prepare and even prepping over the summer before senior and taking them. So be smart about the math as we're going through. Now, how can we actually use these resources to prepare? Well, there's two options. One that I would strongly recommend is my Ultimate ACT course. I've basically taken my private tutoring and just put it into a course for $99 a month. So I spent way too many hours in front of this camera going through and filming everything I teach in private tutoring sessions. The content, the strategies, the techniques, and going through and teaching you everything you need to know. I've also filmed a bunch of practice test explanations and question explanations. These are all the same materials I use with my private tutoring students, the same lessons. So again, it's a great way to go through. In the course, I've also got study plans you can follow that go anywhere from as short as like 1 month up to 6 months. So you can use these as a really easy way to go through and do prep all in one place. Of course, what you can also do is you can also get a bunch of those books and resources I mentioned earlier, the ones that I would recommend, and you can kind of work through those at your own pace as well. Beyond that, there's always options if you have more finances to put towards this. You can look into group classes. That can be great. You can look into private tutors. Again, just make sure you do your homework, because technically there's no certification process. Anyone can just show up and say, hey, I'm a great private tutor. So make sure you do your homework if you're going to put your investment into that, to make sure you're getting someone who really is an expert and can help you out. Now, to finish up, let me share what I have learned about the new ACT from the scores that just came out in September. Like I said earlier, I had a bunch of students taking the ACT. A bunch of students did really, really well. But of course, by looking at their score reports and getting feedback from many of my students, I'm able to get some insights into what's going on. And what have we learned so far? Well, number one thing we learned, as I expected, the ACT was harder than the ones the ACT released in that red book I showed you guys earlier. Remember, the ones in that red book are a little bit outdated. They're kind of reboots from 2019, 2020, 2021, 2023, and the test now, again, is a little bit harder. We saw the curve reflect that with the number of questions you missed and the score students were getting. So students who are just using those old versions, again, we're in for a little bit of a rude surprise. The second thing we learned is the math now, more than ever, it's really, really important to be well prepared. On the old ACT, there were 60 math questions. On the new ACT, there were only 45 math questions. And what they've done is they basically stripped out 10 or 15 of the easier math questions. And now there are very few easy math questions. Really jumps into like the medium, hard, very hard questions a lot more quickly. So what that means is there are going to be more difficult topics on the test. There are going to be more obscure topics on the test. And again, if you're using really any resource to prep other than my ACT math book, there is stuff that you're going to find gaps in your knowledge. The good news is all the different random topics that appeared in the test from all my students that were telling me about it, every single one I was like, oh, yep, that's in the math book, that's in the math book, that's in the math book. So all of these things have been on the ACT before. Again, they just weren't in only those 4 tests in that red version of the ACT. So a lot of students who were just using that were not well prepared. So again, the math is hard. We have to put in time and effort to get properly prepared for that. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Of course, if you have any questions around ACT prep, how to handle the new ACT, materials, whatever else, of course, let me know in the comments down below. If you just enjoyed the video, of course, also let me know. If you guys want to check out that Ultimate ACT course, there is a free trial. There's a link below for that, where again, it's totally free. You'll also be able to learn a bunch of grammar rules. There's more insights that I'm sharing about the new enhanced ACT, how to prep. There's some math stuff in there as well. So again, totally free way for you to check out the course. Of course, I hope you sign up for the full course and let me help guide you guys some great ACT scores. Other than that, hope you guys subscribe as well. I'll be posting more and more videos with the new enhanced ACT to keep you guys updated. Other than that, this is Matt at PrepPros signing off. I'll see you guys next time.